All right, so you've ever been hypnotized? You know, a lot of people can say they have them, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. People can say yes to that question because of our next guest.
Comedian Doug T is bringing his brand of hypnotic fun to Omaha.
He's at the Funny Bone all weekend.
Nice
Good to
to have
see
you
you,
here, Doug.
Thanks for having me
Thank
here.
you.
So, how did you get into hypnosis? How did this all get started for you?
I read a book. No, I toured with a man named Jim Wand. Toured with him and got to know. I was a comedian for quite a long time doing impressions, so I took a little different blend. I started putting impressions and hypnosis. So when they're on stage, they really know. It's crazy. They don't know who they're talking to. It could be Christopher Walken. It could be Tony Soprano. They don't know.
They don't know. And you do these big, I mean, it's a big group of people who get together and do this thing.
Most of ever has 75 on stage.
Yeah. So when you're doing a show, are you bringing people up from the audience? How do the volunteers get into it?
I usually let them decide because the best volunteers are the ones that are willing. Because obviously I can't hypnotize somebody without having their willingness.
Right.
So how does it work? I mean, because some people don't really believe in hypnosis.
Right.
But others swear by it because they've been hypnotized before. How does it work? Each
person has the ability to be hypnotized. There's brainwave states that you go through. So each time you go to sleep or wake up, it's actually going into that hypnotic state. It's not doing anything that's magical. It's just taking your mind and kind of dropping it down. Yeah, watch these kids take off running from a snake. It's just taking your mind and getting into your subconscious and working with people like that. They think that belt's going to turn into a snake is what happens here.
That's what happens here.
This entire group.
The entire group's
But I mean, they're all
hypnotized.
able to stand and their eyes are
You're
open.
completely aware of everything that's going on. You just don't care. You're completely aware. Watch this. Drop.
And so do people sometimes not remember? There it goes.
Watch the kid jump over the chair. It was his belt too.
Look, guy's stomping on it.
Oh yeah.
Be the hero.
And that girl was, I think she was like a science major. She was not afraid of snakes at all.
Afraid of snakes.
She was yelling at people. This guy was like, I don't want to touch it. Get away.
That's funny. The volunteers who come onto a stage, I would be concerned that I would say something or do something humiliating.
That's a very, very common misconception. My show is a very clean show and family friendly. I do colleges, I do high schools.
Yeah.
So I try and keep it, I have a wife and 2 daughters. I treat the people on stage as I would want my wife and 2 daughters treated. So I keep it respectful. You can definitely take people farther than what they're ready for, but you'll never do anything against your morals or ethics. And we don't have people's secret powers or secrets from the past coming out. I don't run that kind of show. Now, you could, but that's not my show.
I like that.
Over the years, I'm sure you've seen a lot of crazy things that have happened on stage.
Oh, yeah.
Anything stand out? What's the wildest thing that has happened on stage?
That gentleman there with the belt, he grabbed, shortly after that, there's another clip where he grabbed a flag, you know the big flags like on the side of a stage that has a point on it?
Right.
He was coming at me like Spock on Star Trek, walking toward me. I had to freeze because he was mad because I turned it, he had it on and I told him he couldn't move and then he's trying to get it off.
So he's mad that you turned it into a snake?
Yeah.
And he was getting ready to assault you.
Yes.
Like committing misdemeanor territory.
Was that at a college show?
Yes. NDSU was where that was at. So it was a fun show. And I try to have fun with it. I recently was on a flight, and I was talking to a lady, and her husband was sitting there, and she found out I was a hypnotist. She wouldn't look at me in the eyes. She didn't want anything to do with me.
She thought that you could stare her down and
hypnotize her, which it doesn't work that way. So she fell asleep, and I wrote a note to her husband. I said, just play along. She's asleep, and I go, and wide awake. And she sits up like this and looking around. And I go, good job. You did it. You were great. And she looks at her husband. Her husband goes, wow, honey. She was mad for the rest of the flight. It was kind of an awkward flight. But why not have fun? That's the way to have fun with people, right?
And you're a comedian, right?
Yeah.
Fun is what you're all about.
Andy, I don't know. Let's just have some fun.
How old are your kids?
10 and 8.
Yeah. Do they think you're funny?
Yes, they do. My wife does not, but they do.
Well, the wives never think we're funny.
No.
To be honest with you. You're from Iowa. You're all over the country, and you're at the Funny Bone. Were you performing last night?
I did last night. Yeah,
show?
it was a good show.
Yeah.
You know, with the basketball games on, we had a great show, great crowd.
Yeah.
I had a kid bust out and do Vanilla Ice last night, karaoke.
Nice.
Good.
He didn't do much the whole show, but all of a sudden he was the star of the show right at the end.
I wonder who'll be the star tonight. Well, we'll start with you, Doug T. 2 shows, and then 2 more tomorrow, 1 on Sunday. That number, that's the Bone Phone. It's 493-8036. You can also get tickets online at
And all those
funnyboneomaha.com.
performances are after Nebraska and Creighton play
That's
basketball.
correct.
So you're good to go.
Get out there. It's after the game, so they can come out and celebrate
All right,
after they
either
win.
celebrate or sulk. We're celebrating today.
Celebrate.
Thank you,
We're
Doug.
Thank you very much for having me. So.
Thanks a lot
See
for
ya.
coming.
All right.